Okay, in the interest of giving Christine the full amount of time, let's go ahead and get started, and we'll keep welcoming more people with us. It's great to see familiar and unfamiliar faces. Welcome. My name is John Warren. I am Director of Choral Activities at Syracuse University, and I am currently President of New York ACDA, and we are so happy that you're joining us for this webinar. We are recording tonight, and you will be able to find the recording tonight or in a couple of days on the New York ACDA website, which is nyacda.org. So please share that. We welcome anybody to watch these in the future, as well as if you want to rewatch some of it. Remember, we've got 2 more webinars the next two Tuesday nights in July, so please keep joining us. The same link will work each time, which is amazing. So let's see, I've got a couple more people to admit. I don't want them to miss anything. Doreen Freiling, you can wave Doreen. Doreen is President-elect of New York ACDA. She and I are going to try to manage stuff like the chat and keep everybody admitted and muted and all those things. If you have questions for Christine, please post them in the chat, and we'll monitor those and try to navigate that as we have time. I'm so excited to introduce Christine Howlett. Christine is Director of Choral Activities at Vassar College in Poughkeepsie and conductor of Capella Festiva. Her choirs are tremendous. They are really, really excellent. She's a wonderful soprano. She does a lot of singing chorally as well as oratorio soloing. 2 of her degrees are in vocal performance, so I knew she would be the perfect person to do this tonight. And best of all, she's just a fabulous friend. She is a great, great friend. So please join me in welcoming Christine Howlett.
Hi, everyone. Hi, it's so nice to see you. And I see a couple of former students out there. That's really wonderful. So first of all, thank you, John, and thank you, Doreen, and New York ACDA for inviting me. Full disclosure, I am the past president, so, but I'm still really honored to be invited to do this. And I should also just back up a little bit. John said everything right, except I haven't been singing a lot in the last few years because I've been chair of the music department at Vassar. And it's really hard to balance to doing your choirs, being sort of in charge of and responsible for a whole slew of people at Vassar, and then singing as well. So I was actually really excited to kind of dive into this session because I'm still teaching voice. I'm just not singing as much as I had wanted to. In fact, I was thinking on my way over here today that one of my plans was to join some other choirs while I was on sabbatical. I'm on sabbatical this fall. So I'm not going to be able to do that, but maybe I can do it virtually. So anyway, it's really a pleasure and an honor to be here. So thank you. And I love seeing all your faces, and the familiar ones and the non-familiar ones. So what I'm going to do today, I have been actually working with my community choir for the last 6 weeks. We have been doing some sort of experimental rehearsals over Zoom, and I've been trying out different ways of using that platform to engage them and to keep them together and keep them singing. And so I got a lot of great feedback about the warm-ups that I was doing or not doing, as the case may be. They really enjoyed doing the warm-ups and the longer warm-ups. So today I'm going to do sort of an epic warm-up with you, and I'm going to give you lots of ideas. And then after the warm-up, I'll take some questions, and I'll also show you what we did. So you don't have to take any notes. You don't have to worry about writing anything down. If you do have a question, as John said, please throw it in the chat so you don't forget, and we'll get to it. And if for some reason we don't get to them in the time we have, I can write some emails to the list of people that were here, and I can get back to you. So don't worry about that at all. So I would like us all to do the warm up, and I can see you. I didn't think I was going to be able to see you, so now I'm even more excited about doing this because I can actually see you and scroll and see your lovely faces. So I'm going to actually switch. I'm in a wonderful room at Vassar College called Tekla Hall, and we have little concerts here. And because of the beautiful window in the back, it glows a little bit when I stand up. So I'm going to turn to the side, but I would like all of you to find a spot where you can stand. And if you're comfortable sharing or showing your face, great. But if not, that's okay too. Okay. So this is the side of our room. Okay. So we're going to start. And the first thing, and John said I have 2 degrees in voice performance, and that is definitely true. And it was during my second one in my master's degree where I discovered how important posture was. I ran into some vocal trouble the first year that I was there, the first semester I was there. And I started studying with the wonderful tenor Alan Bennett. And he constantly was addressing my posture. And I came to realize how important it was. And so I'm a bit of a crazy person about it. I think about it a lot. I comment on it a lot. And what I'd like you to do as you go through is to think about your posture being dynamic, that you can always kind of adjust and feel better and find a better position for yourself. So the first thing I'd like you to do is you can't see my full body, but put your feet about hip distance apart and maybe just move side to side. You can bend your knees a little bit if that's okay for you. And if it's not, don't worry about it. But I like to do the deep knee bends, and then do some shoulder rolls and go the other direction. Good, wonderful. And then back the other direction. And this time, bring the shoulders up, and we're going to use the T word. I want you to tense up your shoulders up to your ears, and then release them. And shake your hands out a little bit. Roll the shoulders one more time, bring them up to your ears, and tense them up, tense them up, tense them up, and then release them. Good, 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 good. And now, just as we're doing this, take a deep breath in and sigh. Oh, and whatever comes out, if it's a giggle or a crackle, it's totally fine. Do one more time. Breathe in. Oh, very, very, very good. Okay, now take one arm, just move it to the side. You can sort of feel that stretch, and then the other arm to the side. Good. And then I like to do sort of big jazz hands. So everyone knows what jazz hands are, right? Show me your jazz hands. Wonderful. Okay. Let's bring our hands in and up over our head. So you can see me. I'll go right back. And then spread them out. Spread them out. You're going to feel a little tension in your arms, and that's good. And then release. Shake them out. Let's do that one more time. Bring the arms up over your head. Stretch those fingers to the ceiling, to the side. It should just feel good. It should not feel bad. If it feels bad, stop. Okay, let's do another one more time. Breathe in. And stretch them out. Good. Now this time, take a deep breath in through your nose as you do this. Breathe in. And out. Good. And you can even do this one with a knee bend if you're comfortable. And again, if your knees don't like it, please don't do it. But breathe in and deep bend down, and then up. And one more time, deep breath in. So you're sort of working in opposite directions a little bit. And it doesn't even matter when you knee bend or when you stretch. So, okay, so shake that out. The other thing I like to do, and you're not going to be able to see me do it, is I want you to drop over. So bend from the waist. So you're going to drop down, and I want your head to hang. Maybe I can show you. Hold on. Oops. Maybe not. I want you to just go over from your tummy and drop down and let the head hang like a rag doll. And your arms should feel very, very loose. And I often see for people that this particular exercise, they don't let the head drop. They don't let the head sort of be like a rag doll, and that causes tension in the neck. So that's what you want to make sure. So you can just now take a few deep breaths while you're down there. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And now you're gonna feel that breath into your lower back, most likely, and maybe your sides. Breathe in again, and out. Okay, so now come back up so I can see your faces. Slowly, slowly, sorry, I should have said that. You don't wanna get lightheaded. Great, 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 great. So your body should feel a little bit invigorated, a little bit more ready to do some breathing exercises. So we're gonna do just some breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And actually, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing, my favorite thing. How could I forget? Can you take your hands and massage the back of your neck? Back of your neck, and then your shoulders. I think it's going to be a while before we can have other people massage us in choir rehearsals. And then take your hands and over your head. Can you just sort of tap your head all the way around? It should feel good, just like a mini massage. And then come to your temples. Move it. So nice big circles. And then maybe on your forehead too. Okay. And then coming down on your cheeks. And then the jaw. Come down the jaw and drop the jaw. And take a nice breath in. And then blow it out. Drop the jaw again. And out. And then just do one more on your neck. I think that's a spot that I definitely get a lot of tension. I think it's from lots of things, but mainly the computer. So it's nice to feel, and then roll the shoulders one more time. Look sort of over your right shoulder and then over your left shoulder very gently. Just go back and forth. And then find a place where you feel like you're really comfortable, very comfortable, okay? And maybe adjust a little bit. And now a deep breath in through your nose and out. Another deep breath through the nose and out. And you can't see exactly, but what I'm doing is I'm putting my hand on my tummy now. So can you put your hand on your tummy? Take a deep breath in, and this should go right out. Breathe in and out. And maybe put one hand on your side. Breathe in and out. If you're feeling more breath action up here, we want to move that air down lower. So try one more time. Breathe in and out. Good. And now a big sigh. And one more time. Good, good. And I love sighs. I think they are massage for your vocal cords. And I think they're great. And I do them all the time. I often do them in the middle of a rehearsal. If the sopranos have just had a really sort of taxing line, or the altos for that matter. We do lots of sighs to sort of bring us back to that place where it feels really, really good. Okay, so we're gonna start now with some singing. So this is an exercise that I learned from Richard Miller, and I don't know if any of you have his book, The Structure of Singing, but I got to see Richard Miller, I think it was in 1996, and I got to go to a workshop that he led, and he was, I think, 70 at the time. And he gave this workshop for 5 days, from 10 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I went for the first 3 days, and then my teacher at the time went to the other 2 days. And what amazed me about this man was that he sounded exactly the same at the end of the day as he did in the morning. So I thought he was amazing, and he was. And this one exercise has always stuck with me ever since that time. It's an onset exercise. And it's very simple, but you can do it wrong really easily. So I'm gonna try and explain it to you, and then I do have some resources for you to download if you want to use that exercise. And I have his book information as well. So what you're gonna do, and I'm gonna have to stay seated for a little bit, you are going to sing, we're gonna use an A, and we're gonna start on an ooh vowel, and we're gonna do ooh, breath, ooh, 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 and you're gonna breathe between every single note. And what this does, it lines you up and gets your body ready for singing. And it's sort of like a bicep curl for your breath. You will start to get tired when you do this. It'll be a little strange at first. But the idea is that you take in quite a bit of air, more than you probably need to sing one note, and then you pulse. And then we're gonna speed it up. So let me show you, and you can do this with me, and then I'll talk a little bit. So we'll take a deep breath and sing on it. And these are like quarter notes. Here we go. Ready? And breathe. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Breath. Ooh, breath. Ooh, breath. Ooh, 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 ooh. Good. And we're going to stop for a second. And the idea is to do this for quite a while until you feel that this is actually quite energized and engaged. And hopefully it already is. So let's do that again. You can do it on an ah vowel. Let's do ah. It's a little more open. Here we go. Ah, ah, ooh, 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 ooh. Breath. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Now what we're going to do is speed it up. Ooh, 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 ooh. And every note has a breath after it. Try it with me. And I'm going to do ooh because my ooh sounds a little nicer right now. Here we go. 2, ready. Ooh, 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 ooh. And when you do this with a choir or a group of people, you can make them do this for a while. You can do it in fifths if you like. You could give them a chord and have them do this exercise, and it really does engage the muscles. The next piece of this exercise, and you can do this probably in a minute or 2 at the very beginning and then leave it. The next part of the exercise is 4/16 notes, then a breath. 4/16 notes, then a breath, but the breath is very fast. So for example, it's hard. So try it with me. Ready? 2, ready. And then hold. And then I would probably do right away a big sigh. Everyone sigh. Good, and do a little massage because it feels good. Good, good, good. So that's one of my favorite exercises. It's one that it's a little easy for some singers to want to do a glottal. Ooh, 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 ooh. And you want to avoid the glottal at all costs. This is all about taking in good breath and setting yourself up for excellent singing afterward. There's another couple of breathing exercises that I really like. One that I learned from an ACDA conference a couple of years ago. And I want everyone to find that lower rib, find the lower rib, and take a deep breath in just so you can feel what happens. And you feel those ribs spread a little bit, and out, and breathe in again, and out. And this is just a quick one. It's 4 fast sniffs. So we're gonna go, and out. And you should feel all of a sudden like, whoa, that's a little more air than I normally take. And that's the idea. Try it one more time. Breathe in, 4 sniffs, and out. And let's do one more. Breathe in. Did I do 4? I'm not sure. I did 3. And out. Good. And then again, check your posture if you're sitting or you're standing. Okay. And another deep breath in through your nose and a sigh. And then what I would normally do is go to some very basic exercises on an NG, for example, or a hum or an N, any of those sort of nasal consonants. So why don't we try, I'm a big fan of the NG. It works for me really well. The hum, for some reason, M's don't always feel as comfortable, so the NG is a little more open. Choose whichever one you like, and we'll do. Easy. Now switch to ooh vowel. Ooh. Nice and easy. Ooh. take a look at your posture. Where are you? Did you fall back into a habit? Are you feeling very open and lifted? One of the other things to think about is lifting that chest and feeling like this is open and accepting. So think about that. Again, do a couple of shoulder rolls, double check, deep breath in, and do a sigh. Oh, good, excellent. Okay, and so those are easy. You can do 5 of them. I do like to start exercises, especially in the beginning of my practice, starting on the top note and coming down. So once I do just a few notes, but then 5 or more, I usually start at the top. So we can do something like, and I like to change the consonant at the beginning so that we're sort of listening and reacting. So let's try ni, ne, na, no, nu. Here we go. Ready? And ni, ne, na, no, nu. Zi, ze, za. Zi, ze, za, zo, zu. Bi, be, ba. Bi, be, ba, bo, bu. Li, le, la. Li, le, la, bo, lu. Zi, ze, za again. Zi, ze, za, zo, zu. Di, de, da. Di, de, da, do, do. Good. And we would do those for a little while. We probably wouldn't go too high right away, but I like it. It depends on what voices we're working with. With a full choir, my choirs know to drop out when it gets too high or too low. So there's nothing to worry about. And often many of them kind of go just to see what happens up there. So good. So another one that I also really like, which is along the same lines, is li, le, la, lo, lu. And again, any consonant can start this. The trick to this one for me is making sure that you can really hear the legato between the notes. And it's a little, so I think for some singers who may not study privately or don't have a private instructor, we forget to do the legato in between. Li, le, la, and it gets a little bit disjointed. So think of this as a slide between the notes, especially in the beginning of your practice. Here we go. Li, le, la, lo, lu. I often tell my singers to feel sloppy. Try it. Li, le, la, lo, lu. Li, le, la, lo, lu. Sorry about that. Li, le, la, lo, lu. Could you si, ze, za? Si, ze, za, zo, zu. Very pure vowels. Si, ze, za, zo, zu. Si, ze, za, zo, zu. Si, ze, za, zo, zu. Let's do one more. Si, ze, za, zo, zu. Good. And I might take that down a little bit. I like to also make sure that we're going in both directions for sopranos and for our basses, for our lowest voices. So the next one I love, and normally I'd sort of pick one of each of these and go, but this is sort of my next step where I like to go, which are big arpeggios. And this one seems very obvious, but it's a great one. You start with either an F or maybe a TH, like the thaw. And I love it, and I use my arms, and I get the kids to, do these big arms. It feels really good. And the idea again behind this is to keep this legato going. So keep the air moving. It shouldn't feel like steps. Fa, fa. So think of either connecting, smoothing, sliding. I'm okay with sliding in the warm-ups. So, okay, and you can do it this way. Fa, and sometimes I get them to change the arm because we always go to our dominant arm. So let's do that together. Here we go. Ready? Breath. Fa, 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 fa. Deep breath. Think about dropping the jaw. Sopranos. sure that one was going to come out. So you got to do it on your own. Good. And then I do exactly the same thing for the lower voices. So let's do that. This time, switch to a TH, thaw. I love this because your tongue comes forward for the TH, and ideally it kind of stays out of the back of your throat. I find with all of the students I've ever taught that tongue tension is always one of the key things that we have to kind of undo. So if we can get our tongue to be really relaxed, it's an incredibly strong muscle, and it gets pulled back and we don't even know it. So it's sort of a weird thing, and I have another exercise for that after this. So let's do a TH, thaw. Ready? Here we go. Thaw, thaw. So kind of slide. Thaw, 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 thaw. And I like to go low. We do 2 more. Just drop out when it's too low. Good. It should be a very relaxing exercise, and that initial puff of air that comes through the consonant is really, really useful. So that's, if I have only 2 minutes to warm up really quickly for something, that's the exercise I do. That's what I start with. I love it. I love it. Okay, and then I normally go to some faster ones. And we can do these legato. You'll notice all of these are legato so far, except for that onset exercise. That is on purpose. I will get to staccato, but finding the line in what you do is so important, and it's so easy to do something that's articulated. And especially in choral singing, we ask our singers a lot of times to shorten things and do a lot of articulation. So starting with this baseline of smooth legato singing to me is very, very important. So, all right, so let's do, we're gonna do, we can do this on any vowel you like. I like to start with E. E. But again, you want to take, it's harder when I'm sitting down, take a deep breath that goes into that lower part of your body. So everyone find those ribs again. Check your posture. I realized, I can tell by the window behind me, I sort of sunk. So we got to get a little higher. Deep breath in through those ribs and out. And I want you to breathe that way when we do this exercise. And if you have time to take the breath through the nose, go for it. Otherwise, open your mouth and go. I'm going to start on E. Here we go. On. E. E. Think smooth. E. E. Try A. A. Try Ah. Oh. Oh. Try O. Oh. Oh. Try Ah. Oh. Good. And now do a big sigh. Oh. It's slightly funny to warm up in front of all of you right now. But it's great. I love it. I love it. I'm going to go to my, we've got 3 pages going on here. So hi, everyone. I'm just taking a quick look through. Good. So as you do those exercises, again, for the higher voices, I am a proponent of modifying the vowel as we go up. Not every teacher is. But I find for me that works. So when you're doing an E, for example, and you get up to a high A or a high B, I have to open my mouth much, much more. And so you have to find out what works for your body in that way. Next one I would do, and then we might go down a little bit lower again for our lower voices. I also like to do a staccato. And I like to start it slow. This is just like Richard Miller, right? We're just doing onset, but maybe a little quicker. And after all this legato singing, this should be actually feel pretty good. So let's try it. Ready? Starting at C. Ready? Breathe. Try a different vowel. Maybe O. ah. Watch the tongue. That's it. Okay, so now for my tongue exercise. This worked out beautifully because I need it right now. So this muscle in your mouth sometimes causes all sorts of problems, especially on certain open vowels. So sometimes with ah, everyone just say ah, ah. And if your tongue is touching your bottom teeth, awesome. If it's not and it feels pulled back, this is where we want to loosen and create space. We want this open throat. We don't want anything impeding the breath and the sound. So it's really not that beautiful to look at, but we're gonna do it anyway. You're gonna stick your mouth out like you're at the dentist or the doctor. Just like that. And we're gonna do a few breaths in with this out of our mouths, just like this. And go anywhere in your voice that you want to go. What should happen is that should actually feel like it's sort of very open and very easy. It might not sound the way you're used to hearing your voice, but it's a very, very healthy sound because nothing's in the way, right? So I like to do the exercise that we just did with my tongue out. So just like this. Try it, everyone. Breath in. Feel the breath low. One more. Now, you may have felt, some of you may not, it's hard for me to see, but may not have put your tongue out far enough. Hopefully you did. If you did, you probably felt it shake a little bit and move around and feel a little uncomfortable. And that's because you're sort of releasing this tension. Now, let's do the same exercise again and see if anything feels better. So put your tongue back in, okay? And we'll do fa, but allow the tongue to sort of settle in a good forward spot. Try it with me. Ready? Fa, fa, fa. Good. So for me, that already feels a little bit better. That feels a little bit better. So do another posture check. Okay, shoulders, good. And as well, there are lots of exercises, the semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, which is basically big words for lip trills and things like that. Those are great. Whoops, there we go. If you need a little break in the middle of your practice and you're feeling like you're not getting sort of the air flowing, using any of those exercises, a lip trill, even blowing water into a straw, into a glass of water, is very, very useful for sort of focusing the air. And whichever one sort of works for you is really, really good. So we would do most of these exercises. Let me see, did I miss any? No. So the next ones that I would go to would be ones that are for agility. But I wouldn't do these ones until you're well into your practice. Getting the breath going, getting the legato going, and then you can start to do and all these kind of fast ones. And so there's tons of those we can imagine, right? If I'm working with little kids, I usually keep the range small. And I might put a consonant in, like da ba da ba da ba da ba da, da ba da ba da ba da ba da. But for adults, I tend to like to just go for it with the vowel. Ooh, breath, ooh, always concentrating on the breath in between. And then usually I'd love to also go into something that's, those are always lots of fun. So there's one more that I want to do with you because I'm watching my time and realizing I'm talking too much. That is a little bit, it's more of a, and I didn't totally address it in my presentation that I'm going to show you in just a second, but it's sort of a registration balancer. And I'm trying to remember who I learned it from. I think it was Drew Minter. Drew Minter is a teacher here at Vassar. And I just think he's a vocal genius. And so when he says something and I try it and it works, he's got lots of wonderful ideas. And this one, I wish I could remember who it came from. You start on a low note in your chest voice. And this is really good for students who either have a strong chest voice and a weaker balance in the head voice, or vice versa. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna slide from the bottom chest voice up into your head voice. So watch me. Ah, ah. So first of all, I have to find it. Ah, 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 ah. And you're actually taking a little break in between. So ah, 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 ah. And I'm gonna go to an oo vowel. I'm gonna try it on an oo vowel. Ooh, 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 ooh. Sorry, I'm going sharp, and that's what sometimes happens. The idea is that you're gonna take actually a lot of energy from the bottom note, that chest voice note. You're gonna embrace your chest voice, you're gonna love it, and then you're gonna do the flip. And what will happen, what should happen over time, is that it actually makes the head voice that much stronger. I love this exercise. I don't do it with every student, but when I have someone who's maybe having a little trouble navigating the head voice, it's really useful. So let's just do a couple. Try it out, see what you think, and then you can ask me about it afterwards. So let's start here. I do like to start with an ah vowel for this one. So deep breath. Ah, 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 and up. And you can keep going for quite a while until you sort of run out of chest voice, which shouldn't be, maybe somewhere around E, something like that. I think it's a really wonderful exercise. You have to be careful that the student or you is flipping into your head voice. There are some of those students out there who have a very strong chest voice, way high, and we just have to kind of watch out for them and try to get them to find that head voice. So with those students, I generally do tons of sighs and start from the top and come down. So I wouldn't necessarily start them with this exercise. So, okay, let me see where I am. I think that's sort of, that would be how I practice myself to prepare for a recital or for I'm singing in a choir somewhere. That's how I would practice. The warm-up, that's how I would warm up. And I usually do a warm-up of 10 to 12 minutes, maybe 15 if I'm feeling, really excited about what I'm doing. And as a soprano, I spend a lot of time doing runs, going up nice and high. But for lower voices, you would want to explore the lower range just as much. So I think what I'll do right now is just stop and kind of show you a little bit of what this looks like in my little presentation. And it's just a visual way to see what we just did. And talk about what we just did, because I didn't actually mention everything I wanted to mention, of course. So I am going to, and then if you have questions, did anyone write any questions in the chat? I didn't see any. I'm going to share my screen, so just give me a second here. Okay. Share. Okay. And hopefully you can see that. Can you guys see that? I hope you can. All right. I'm going to move myself here to the side. Oops, there. Nope, sorry. That's not going to work. There we go. Okay, so when I picked the title, I was thinking about like issues of the voice issues, sort of, because I had so many in grad school that I thought a lot about how you sing. But then I realized the title I'd chosen was really like voice matters, we matter. And right now, a lot of us feel, pretty depressed about what's going on and what's happened. And I don't even know how many concerts have been canceled. But we still matter. voice still matters, singing still matters, choir still matters, and we're going to find a way through this. And so one of the things to think about is trying to find that place every day where you get to sing a little bit, even if it's on your own, or maybe it's with, maybe you're lucky enough to have singers in your family and you can sing with them. That would be ideal. But the other thing you can do is you can sing with other people on Zoom in these virtual rehearsals. Maybe only one person like me is leading, but there are things we can do. And my community choir folks that have been coming the past 6 weeks, really, it was really clear to me last night. It was actually very moving to see how important it was. I wasn't sure if they'd last through the 6 weeks. I wasn't sure how it would go, but it mattered. It really mattered. So whatever you're teaching, whatever you're doing, whether you're a private voice teacher or you're a community singer or whatever, know that it matters, and that we need to keep doing what we're doing, whatever it is in this Zoom world now. So anyway, okay, so back to my presentation. So this is an app, I guess, a program, software called MindMeister, and my friend Tom Pacio, hi Tom, introduced this to me, and I've been having some fun with it. So I thought I would create this little presentation for you just so you could see it. I'm a visual person. I like to doodle. I like to make lists, and this helped me kind of gather my thoughts about this presentation, and also include some information for you. And I'll be able to share it with you near the end of the presentation. So I'm just going to take you through. So what we did in the beginning, we did this, that we worried about our posture. And I would argue that you worry about your posture through the entire program. You align your instrument. And then I would also encourage you, I'm not sure I said this, but you really are the only person who knows what feels good and what works. And so to constantly sort of assess and experiment with what you're doing, okay? All right. And then the next thing we opened that vocal tract up, right? We released some tongue detection. We did lots of glides. You can do sirens if you like sirens. I like the sighs a lot. I tend to do those most of the time. And then practice with your tongue out. It works wonders. It's really shocking, actually, sometimes how much it improves what's going on. You don't realize where that tension is. Okay. And then the breath and onset. These were the Richard Miller exercises. You want to find those ribs. The 4 sniffs is a great reminder of how much air we actually could take in. I'm just going to do it again right now. That's a lot. And that's how far our ribs could go out when we're singing. The semi-occluded vocal tract exercises are, oh, I know, sorry, here, I wanted to show you this. Look at this thing. Let's see if it works. Hooray! Okay, so this is a page from Richard Miller's book. His books are really long. They're really involved and very, very beautifully done, but very sort of, it's like a medical textbook sometimes. And this comes right at, this is one of the first things you see in his textbook, but these are the exercises that we did at the beginning. And you can see how the breath is part of, it's not a real quarter note or anything, it's part of the exercise. And I didn't do the triplet form, but you can do the triplet form. And I went to the 16th notes, but then he also has his students do sextuplets. So I love this exercise. Sometimes I forget about it, and then when I remember it, I'm always so glad that it hasn't gone away for too long. Okay, so I'm gonna get out of this one. And then here are some, and you'll be able to see these in the materials I give you. The semi-occluded vocal tract exercises are really great, and there are tons of them. This was taken from someone else's website called Brainscape. But the lip trill, a lot of us do the lip trill. I often have people who come up to me and say, I can't roll my R's. What can I do? I couldn't do a lip trill for a long time. I think I was 32 years old. No, it was rolling my R's. I was 32 years old when I learned how to actually really roll my R's. And this technique of using Dracula, I want to drink, using the D and a flipped R Try it. And then you just put more air through it. That is really useful. So if that helps you or some of your students, awesome. And then there are a few more in here that you can take a look at. Let's see if we go back. Okay, we're going to go on to our next one. Gosh, this time's going by very quickly. Articulation and diction. You'll notice I did very little. I did a few different consonants and things like that. I know lots of people love to do diction exercises in the warm-up. I'm one of those people, I just prefer to do it with the music I have. So I try and get everybody lined up with that legato singing, with that breath, being able to do those onset exercises and the staccato exercises. And then I do this part of the work in the music. But you can definitely do it, you know, in your warm-up as well. So I know there are tons of beautiful exercises. And there's a great book I'll show you that has a lovely, lovely set of them that I think will be very useful for everybody. Okay, and then, and this is one of the books, and I'll show it to you in a second. Catherine, and I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, I'm afraid, Rundus or Rundus, created a couple of books. One of them is called Cantabile Voice Class, and I grabbed it because I thought we might end up with a voice class at Vassar. It's really small, it's cheap, and she has tons and tons of great exercises for what I would call those singers in your choirs in college or in high school, or your community choir. It's easy to read, it's easy to follow, and she has tons of great ways of explaining. So one of the things I put in here was this idea of resonance. You often hear voice teachers talking a lot about it. And she has a great description. She leads you through these 3 different vowels. The ah creates tallness, north to south. E creates depth from front to back, E. And a creates broadness, east to west. And this idea of resonance is that you are combining all of these all the time. And that you're feeling all of those sensations that you feel when you do these 3 vowels. So space, depth, and tallness. And then she also has this great thing she describes as negative practice. And I just wanted to share it with you because I thought it was pretty terrific. When you're trying to explain what resonance is to a singer, especially I think a younger singer, you can start with like the dull sound. And so she says, just sing da with no vibrato, no nothing, kind of a flat sound. Da, and then then open up and feel what the difference is. And then, of course, you have to constantly ask them, what do you feel? What are you feeling when you do those exercises? So anyway, I wanted to share that with you because I thought it was great. Oops, sorry. Let's do that. And then we go to agility, and we did some of those fast exercises, which I'll share with you in a PDF file. Anything that's scalar are terrific. And again, I tend to do these at the end of the warm-up so that you're really prepared, because I think that is some of the most difficult singing. And then we're almost there, folks. It's 7:49. How did this happen? And then we have some exercises here. And these are the ones I'll be able to share with you. There. And I definitely am a compiler. I feel like every exercise that I do, I've learned through voice teachers and choir directors from my entire, so none of these are mine. These are just ones that I find really useful. And you'll see they go down. We did a lot of these. I didn't do the staccato ones, I don't think. Oh no, we did. And then some of the faster ones, 5 notes. And then that bottom one is good for that balancing the registers. So I think I'm gonna stop there and I'm gonna stop sharing. And I'd love to see, oh, we've got a couple of questions. And I do have one more mind map about practicing, but I'll take a few questions first because I'd rather see what's happening. Let's see. Have you your opinions on voice changed dramatically? Have any of your opinions on voice changed dramatically in the past 10 to 15 years? Oh, that's a great question, Sarah. Yes, probably. I feel this is a little bit personal, but I really felt like I learned to sing after I left graduate school. So I was 32 years old, and I learned how to sing then, which is a little bit frightening. Um, but so in terms of, I don't know, that's a sort of a big question, Sarah. That's another session. I mean, vocal technique wise, no, but I think I figured out things later than most people do. And that's why I find it so interesting to think about and to talk about. Um, and yeah, I'm not sure I'm answering your question, but I can talk to you about that later. Um, when doing these vocalises with your choirs, are they on mute? Yes, yes. So what I do is exactly what I did with you today. I run the exercises and I normally sing. I don't talk as much. Like what I did was a lot of explaining in this session. I try not to talk too much and I sing along and they sing with me. Sometimes, and I think what I will do in the fall is that we'll break into smaller groups and I'll have other people sing instead of me so that you can hear your other singers. I think it'll take a little bit of bravery for everyone to buy into that, but I think it's really important. But I also think a huge group, it just doesn't, it's harder to manage. So I would suggest if you've got a small group of, 5 to 10 singers that you can meet and do some kind of vocal warm-up or you're working on a piece, that's how I would do it. What is your virtual teaching setup like? Trying to figure out how you're getting such good singing quality and piano quality through Zoom. Oh, bless you. The only thing, honestly, the only thing I have done is I've turn off. I think I have original sound. Right now I have original sound on. And I think I meant to turn it off, but that's what works. I'm also in a nice space, and that may be making a difference. This is a beautiful acoustic to sing in, and it's a beautiful piano. So that's nothing to do with me. But yeah, I don't have any special microphones. I'm bare bones right now. I will be honest. I'm going to look into getting some better microphones and a better setup. For sound, but I'm still doing my research on it right now. And then additional endorsement. Oh, good. So Bill says additional endorsement of the Renus Cantabile books. I've used them with my students at Binghamton and they've appreciated how, oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Judith Nicosia, she was the one who introduced me. She did a session at a New York ACDA regional conference that we had, and she introduced me to these books, and I went out and bought them. I think they're terrific. What kinds of breath control exercises can you share with us? I actually think the lip trills, I love that. That is a great one. I also think the onset exercises we did at the beginning are breath control exercises. So that's actually the start. And that you will start to feel a lot of gain from those particular exercises. I think that is an amazing exercise. One thing, so the part of this was supposed to be about how do you practice. And one of the things, and what I'll do is I'll share the information with you, but I'm not sure I'm gonna have time to go through it. Maybe I will. And let me actually just do that. I'm gonna do that. Hold on one second. It's a different mind map. So I have to just find it for a second. Stop slideshow. That's what I have to do. Okay. Just give me one moment. How to practice. Okay. And I'm going to share my screen with you. And this is a simpler mind map. Sure. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. So I'm just going to take you through this in the 4 minutes that I have. So I was thinking about how do we practice when, like my community choir, when they can't hear the person beside them, when they can't, like they're missing this spot and this person got it, and they know this part, so this person got it from them. We have to learn we have to sort of practice a different way. So I was sort of thinking about the idea of practicing music, right? Idea of practicing music for a choral rehearsal or for a solo song, and how we do it, you know, and that we have to plunk, we have to go to our piano, we have to go to our app on our phone. But now we're finding more and more aids, especially for people who maybe didn't get that theory training when they were younger. There are all these aids online, cyber-based being like sort of the grandfather, I think, of those. But I was working on Leonardo Dreams of His Flying Machine by Eric Whitacre with my community choir before we left. And I Googled just for fun, just to see, had anyone put out any rehearsal aids? Because the idea of making them myself made my brain hurt a little bit. And sure enough, I couldn't believe it, but someone had done it and had done it really well. So there's a lot out there to get the nuts and bolts of what we're doing, right? And I talk a little bit, let me get rid of this. I talk a little bit about how we can practice silently. I had a student this year who lived in Brooklyn, and when we went online, she wasn't able to sing in her apartment because of the work schedule of her family. So we went from singing and everything being fine and actually doing these lessons on Zoom to her not being able to utter a peep because she had people, you know, at their computers working. And so there's a way to think about silent practice. I think it's really valuable. Take a look at your score, sing into the key, make sure you're in the right key, and then try and sing through your part, and you'll know right away when you need some help. I could talk more a little bit about this, but the other idea is I play violin, and I play limited piano. I actually sight read still to this day using my fingers often because that's how I learned as a child. So finding ways to practice that doesn't actually use our voice all the time. We do have a limited, you know, you can't sing for 2 hours at a time, or you shouldn't. I think you need breaks, right? You need big breaks, especially if you're singing for that full time. In choir, we don't sing for 2 hours straight. We're listening to the altos work on a part or the basses work on a part. So you do have to kind of watch that. But then let me just go to this one last thing. And this was actually what I really wanted to talk about, which was the vocal technique piece of how you practice a piece of music. And so this is what I do when I'm preparing for a recital or a little solo or something, or there's a tricky passage in one of these choral pieces that we're doing. The first thing I do is I lip trill the passage of music, or maybe the entire song. That's the first step. Second step is I'll sing it on a neutral vowel. I'll sing it on an ah or an o, and I sing the entire thing as beautifully legato as I can. And then I take whatever the song is. I was thinking about one today. My life flows on in endless song, and you just sing the vowels, and it's hard. And you make that as smooth as you can. That's the key to this kind of passage of how to practice. And only after you've done that, you've gone through these vowels, then you add the consonants. And when I practice this way with those steps, it's always better. Even by the end of a practice session, it's always better. And then what you'll find is you'll discover the places that need extra care, usually between steps 3 and 4. And by step 4, you'll go through the piece and you'll hear a little glitch, a little click, something. So that probably means the consonants are getting in your way. If you're doing all of this stuff, you're singing legato and smoothly and beautifully and with breath, then it's probably something to adjust with the consonants. So sorry, that was a total rush job on that, but I wanted to make sure that you got that. Were there any other questions before we finish? What I'm gonna do is I'm going to have Jared put up the materials that you just saw on the New York ACDA website. And everything you saw, you'll be able to access, and you you can enjoy and use. So are there any other questions before you head off? Nothing. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Doreen. Thank you, John. It was a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate it. And good luck in all of your stuff. It's going to be a doozy.
Great job. Great job, Christine. So thankful. Wonderful resources. I'm glad we can share them all. Next Tuesday night, everybody, same time, same link. We'll have Q&A with 3 wonderful composers, Brandon Boyd, Dale Trumbore, and Philip Sylvie, and you'll have the chance to ask them questions about their lives and their work. It'll be fantastic. Remember to go to nyacda.org to find these resources, to find the video of each of these seminars. And Christine, great job. And
Well, thank you.
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody. See you
Really
soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.